Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. The goal of these briefings and my weekly radio show, Operation Freedom, is to provide you information the bought-off lamestream fake media will never present. Folks, you can join us live every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern at davejanda.com. Just go to the upper right-hand corner of davejanda.com, hit the Listen Live button, and join us. We have great guests, great analysis. In addition, even though I retired from orthopedic surgery a couple years ago, I still am on call for you 24/7 at davejanda.com. We upload information on a regular basis on the free side of our platform, davejanda.com, on a very regular basis. We also upload information on almost a daily basis to our subscriber base at davejanda.com. It's a very affordable, 30 cents a day, $9 a month. Try it for a month. If you don't like it, you can get rid of it. But the information, the guests, and the analysis we provide, you're not going to get from other sources. Today, I want to focus on the election, and in particular about the integrity of the election. Look, every American, I believe, has been concerned, or most Americans have been concerned, every American should be concerned, about the accuracy and the integrity of our election process. There are a number of individuals that have, if you will, tried to take a position in the electoral process that many folks are suspect about. And many people that question what these individuals are doing are labeled conspiracy theorists. Well, one of the people that comes to the forefront about some of their questionable activities about voter regularity is George Soros. Look, Soros has a position in several of the machine companies associated with counting the votes. And remember that old statement, it's not so much who votes, it's who counts the votes that really counts. Well, I think Soros has actually tried to implement that plan. Look at his funding of campaigns of Secretary of States around the country. Who counts the votes? The Secretary of States in the respective in each state. Soros has put a concerted effort over the past 6 or 8 years into making sure that the Secretary of State in each state is a disciple of his, a disciple of the globalists. Now, he's failed. I would say he actually failed pretty miserably in that regard, but he's made that effort. Some have estimated he's funneled about $100 million into the election cycle as it relates to getting globalists in power to try to get the power back in the hands of the globalist syndicate. In fact, the Council on Foreign Relations just went on record that they're creating a group of countries, G9, to undo, this is the Council on Foreign Relations, globalist think tank, to undo what Trump has done in his first 2 years. And one of their objectives has focused on this election. And in fact, we've already seen evidence that Trump has not sat back on this. He, in fact, has implemented many teams to ensure voter regularity. Just look at what happened this past Sunday. Now, the bought-off lamestream fake media didn't touch this story. Zero Hedge did. It was in Georgia. Headline, Georgia investigating Democrats for allegedly hacking voting system. Georgia's Secretary of State and Republican gubernatorial candidate Brian Kemp revealed on Sunday that his office is opening an investigation into Georgia Democrat Party on allegations that it attempted to hack the state's voting system, including allegations of possible cyber crimes. Remember, we just had some convictions in North Carolina on voter fraud. We just had some convictions in Texas of people that were filling out cards, putting them in the Democrat category of illegals, no less. No, there are umpteen cases already pending. And remember, it all comes down to what happens in the House of Representatives in Washington and the Senate. Now, in every midterm election, the average party in power, that being the Republicans at this point, will lose 29 House seats and lose 5 Senate seats. Now, that means the Senate and the House, if we look at statistical norms over all the decades' time, will fall into the Democrat hands. And unfortunately, this is not John Kennedy's Democrat Party. This is the globalist Democrat Party. Big difference. So if there's any greater loss than 23 seats in the House, it falls into the Dems. And any loss greater than 3, the Senate falls into the Democrat category or the globalist category. And yes, I know, I've said this umpteen times. There are globalists that are Republicans as well. Good example, Paul Ryan, he's gone. But don't let the door hit you in the whatever. Goodbye. Last night, I was in contact with a source that I have trusted for many, many years. This source gives me information, provides me information that's happening behind the curtain. They're integrally involved in geopolitical issues, not just in our country, but around the world. This individual pointed out to me several things. That the Georgia investigation and the prosecutions in North Carolina and Texas are not little standalones. There was a concerted effort by the globalists to get their people elected, in some cases fraudulently. This is what I was told. This is as of last night. A significant number, in fact, the source said, quote, a staggering number, quote, end quote, of voting machines have been replaced. And the reason is because those voting machines had been preset for Democrat globalist candidates. The machines, I was told, were found to be tampered with through testing protocols that each machine was put through by federal authorities. These machines, direct quote from my source, staggering number, were taken out, new ones were put in that were legit, no votes present. The machines that were taken away are under guard. It's also my understanding that polling places around the country are also under guard, and the reason is that there have been some significant threats made to candidates, actually, conservative candidates. And to those people that say, well, what about the globalist candidates? According to my sources, they have no evidence where law enforcement has gotten involved, where threats have been made against a globalist candidate or a Democrat or a progressive. Only conservative candidates. It is my understanding that law enforcement is also involved in all this. It is also my understanding that people that were involved in the tampering of machines, a number of people have been arrested, and a number of people have been spilling the beans on who hired them and who directed them. Now, isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? One of the big globalist players in the pollster business is this guy, Nate Silver. Remember, he's the guy who predicted a huge landslide victory for Hillary Clinton. I believe on Election Day, he predicted that Hillary had a 71% chance of winning the presidency. Sorry. Well, recently, he was out there saying that the Dems and the globalists had an 88% chance of winning the House. 88% chance. And then last night on the Hill, the same guy, Nate Silver, came out and said, quote, direct quote, Dems could retake the House or not. Both are extremely possible, end quote. Sounds like Nate backpedaled a whole lot. I hope he didn't get whiplash in the process. You know, maybe Nate got wind that some of these machines that were tampered with were being taken down. And maybe that's why all of a sudden he started to change his tune. They knew, the globalists knew they were in trouble. Go back even as far as a month ago. This not from the bought off lamestream fake media. Voting machine vendor threatens election transparency group. Audit USA received a cease and desist letter from Election Systems and Software. An Arizona-based election transparency activist group has received a cease and desist letter from the largest voting system vendor in the United States. Well, what could they have done? I mean, a nonprofit about transparency of elections and the voting machine company threatening to sue them? Here it goes. Quote, this is from the head of the nonprofit. Quote, "We're going to reply very respectfully because they deserve that," said John Brakey, the director of Audit USA, "but we don't take their trying to intimidate us very seriously. So basically, they don't need to wait 10 days to sue us. They can just go ahead and sue us," end quote. In the cease and desist letter, ES&S claims that the nonprofit, what could they have done? They used materials belonging to the voting machine manufacturer, and they felt that was a violation of copyright law. Wait a minute. This voting machine manufacturer published some information, and then they're going to sue a nonprofit for trying to distribute that information for transparency on the election? Yeah, listen. The head of the nonprofit argued he was able to come into possession of ES&S's product manuals through public record requests or through Secretary of State offices. Does it make sense now why George Soros wanted to infiltrate the Secretary of State offices around the country? Maybe to suppress this kind of information from being distributed? The bottom line is, according to Brakey, ES&S does not want him or anyone in the public to have access to these manuals. Oh, so maybe the manuals might give an indication of how machines could be, how easily they could be tampered with, you think? Okay. Quote, "We know what the laws are. We know that they have the right to these manuals. You know where I got them. I got them through records requests," Brakey said. "It's fair usage and it's for the public good. We are being effective and we're getting people to ask questions about how their election system is working." Brakey and Audit USA continue to publicly share concerns about state election departments around the country that destroy election ballot images. Are you aware of that? These digital images under the law are supposed to be saved for 22 months, but they're not. They're deep sixed. I'm sure that couldn't happen right down the road here in Detroit. Oh, right, it did. I'm sorry. Quote, "We have a responsibility in our organization to help people understand how elections work," Brakey added. "We are working hard to make elections transparent, trackable, and publicly verified, and that's our mission," end quote. You see, the globalist enemy is transparency. Whether it's transparency of an election or transparency of governance. It is the death knell of the globalists, and that's why they're fighting transparency when it comes to this election and every election. Folks, you need to make a stand. If you haven't voted, it's time to vote. Your vote counts. Every single vote counts. And I hope that when the votes are tallied, I hope they accurately show that the American public stood up for our freedoms and for our liberties, and not for the globalist agenda. Please join us at davejanda.com. We're there for you 24/7 on the public side, the free side, or the subscription side. 30 cents a day, biggest bang for the buck in all the internet. Join us every Sunday, 2 to 5 Eastern, davejanda.com. Stream the show live. It's free. I thank you for your time. And as we always sign off, dream big and dare to fail. Have a good day.